Let's continue our Nickelodeon marathon with the show that would end up changing their lives, with the fact that it's still going on to this day, with not just the show, but also movies, video games, toys, and more. And it's just the everyday misadventures of an undersea sponge and his friends, SpongeBob SquarePants. The series revolves SpongeBob SquarePants, an energetic and optimistic yellow sea sponge who lives in a submerged pineapple. SpongeBob has a childlike enthusiasm for life, which carries over to his job as a fry cook at a fast food restaurant called the Krusty Krab. One of his life's greatest goals is to obtain a boat driving license from Mrs. Puff's boating school, but he never succeeds. His favorite pastimes include jellyfishing, which involves catching jellyfish with a net in a manner similar to butterfly catching, and blowing soap bubbles into elaborate shapes. He has a pet sea snail with a pink shell and a blue body named Gary, who meows like a cat. Living 2 houses away from SpongeBob is his best friend Patrick Star, a dim-witted yet friendly pink starfish who resides under a rock. Despite his mental setbacks, Patrick sees himself as intelligent. Squidward, SpongeBob's next-door neighbor and co-worker at the Krusty Krab, is an arrogant, ill-tempered octopus who lives in an Easter Island moai. He enjoys playing the clarinet and painting self-portraits but hates his job as a cashier. He dislikes living between SpongeBob and Patrick because of their childish nature. The owner of the Krusty Krab is a miserly, greedy red crab named Mr. Krabs who talks like a sailor and runs his restaurant as if it were a pirate ship. He is a single parent with a teenage daughter, a grey sperm whale with red lipstick and a yellow ponytail named Pearl, to whom he wants to bequeath his riches. Pearl does not want to continue the family business and would rather spend her time listening to music or working at the local shopping mall. Another of SpongeBob's friends is Sandy Cheeks, a thrill-seeking and athletic squirrel from Texas, who wears an air-filled diving suit to breathe underwater. She lives in a tree enclosed in a clear glass dome locked by an airtight, hand-turned seal and is an expert in karate. Located across the street from the Krusty Krab is an unsuccessful rival restaurant called the Chum Bucket. It is run by a small, green, one-eyed copepod named Plankton and his computer wife, Karen. Plankton constantly tries to steal the secret recipe for Mr. Krabs's popular Krabby Patty burgers, hoping to gain the upper hand and put the Krusty Krab out of business. Karen supplies him with evil schemes to obtain the formula, but their efforts always fail and their restaurant rarely has any customers. When SpongeBob is not working at the Krusty Krab, he is often taking boating lessons from Mrs. Puff, a paranoid but patient pufferfish. SpongeBob is Mrs. Puff's most diligent student and knows every answer to the oral exams he takes, but he panics and crashes when he tries to drive a real boat. When Mrs. Puff endures one of SpongeBob's crashes or is otherwise frightened, she puffs up into a ball. An unseen figure called the French narrator often introduces episodes and narrates the intertitles as if the series were a nature documentary about the ocean. His role and distinctive manner of speaking are references to the oceanographer Jacques Cousteau. Recurring guest characters appear throughout the series including the retired superheroes Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, who are idolized by SpongeBob and Patrick, a pirate spectre known as the Flying Dutchman, a muscular lifeguard of Goo Lagoon, Larry the Lobster and the merman god of the sea, King Neptune. Special episodes of the show are hosted by a live-action pirate named Patchy and his pet parrot Potty, whose segments are presented in a dual narrative with the animated stories. Patchy is portrayed as the president of a fictional SpongeBob fan club, and his greatest aspiration is to meet SpongeBob himself. Potty likes to make fun of Patchy's enthusiasm and causes trouble for him while he tries to host the show. The writing for this show is mostly very solid, as while it does a very simple premise of characters having underwater adventures at the bottom of the ocean, it often results in the show having a very sharp and witty sense of humor, a great amount of heart and charm, some pretty solid action and adventure depending on the episode, some well-handled life lessons, again, depending on the episode, and some very nice world building. Which all of these things combined results in some pretty good and strong episodes. But after the series' third season, the series did start to go downhill, starting with the fourth season, but while this and Season 5 were just okay, the series hit a major downhill slope during the 6th, 7th, and 8th seasons, and lead to many of the characters getting flanderized and or unlikable. This also resulted in some pretty bad episodes, although there were some before and after. But thankfully, starting with Season 9, the show started to get back on its feet to make the show maybe on par with the classic era, but still good. And the solid writing does result in some very solid episodes like Help Wanted, Tea at the Tree Dome, Bubble Stand, Rip Pants, Plankton, Boating School, Pizza Delivery, Home Sweet Pineapple, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy Ivy, Pickles, Hall Monitor, Jellyfish Jam, Nature Pants, Culture Shock, FUN, Muscle Bob Off Pants, The Chaperone, Employee of the Month, Skady Pants, SB 129, Karate Choppers, Sleepy Time, Suds, Valentine's Day, Rock Bottom, Texas, Walking Small, Neptune's Spatula, Hooky, Squid's Day Off, Something Smells, Bossy Boots, Big Pink Loser, Bubble Buddy, Dying for Buy, Imitation Crabs, Wormy, Patty Hype, Squidville, Pre-Hibernation Week, Life of Crime, Christmas Who? Survival of the Idiots, No Free Rides, I'm You Biggest Fanatic, Squirrel Jokes, Pressure, The Smoking Peanut, Shanghaied, Welcome to the Chum Bucket, Frankendoodle, The Secret Box, Band Geeks, Graveyard Shift, Krusty Love, Procrastination, Sailor Mouth, Artist Unknown, Jellyfish Hunter, The Fry Cook Games, Squid on Strike, Sandy, SpongeBob, and the Worm, The Algae's Always Greener, My Pretty Seahorse, Just One Bite, The Bully, Nasty Patty, Idiot Box, Snowball Effect, One Crab's Trash, No Weenies Allowed, Squilliam Returns, Crab Org, Rockabye by Valve, Wet Painters, Krusty Krab Training Video, Chocolate with Nuts, Clams, Midlife Crustacean, Born Again Crabs, I Had an Accident, The Camping Episode, Missing Identity, Plankton's Army, SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, Pranks-a-Lot, Fear of a Krabby Patty, Shell of a Man, Crabs vs. Plankton, Have You Seen This Snail? Selling Out, Enemy In-Law, Dunces and Dragons, Krusty Towers, Karate Island, New Leaf, Bummer Vacation, Squidtastic Voyage, Driven to Tears, Rule of Dumb, Born to be Wild, Best Frenemies, Best Day Ever, Friend or Foe, The Original Fry Cook, Spy Buddies, New Digs, Crabs Alley Mode, Roller Cowards, The Krusty Sponge, The Donut of Shame, Blackjack, 20,000 Patties Under the Sea, The Two Faces of Squidward, Krabby Road, No Nose Nose, Patty Caper, Plankton's Regular, The Slumber Party, Suction Cup Symphony, Grandpappy the Pirate, Sandcastles in the Sand, Single Cell Anniversary, Back to the Past, The Great Patty Caper, Enchanted Tiki Dreams, The Abrasive Side, Perfect Chemistry, Planet of the Jellyfish, It's a SpongeBob Christmas, Hello, Bikini Bottom, Goodbye, Krabby Patty, Mermaid Pants, Mimic Madness, Feral Friends, The Legend of Bikini Bottom, Squid Noir, and SpongeBob's Big Birthday Bow Wow. But there are also plenty of bad episodes as well, such as Quarantined Crab, Ink Lemonade, Life Insurance, Squid Baby, Little Yellow Book, SpongeBob, You're Fired, Bulletin Board, Demolition Doofus, Face Freeze, Are You Happy Now? Restraining SpongeBob, Bubble Buddy Returns, Bubble Troubles, Smooth Jazz at Bikini Bottom, Pet Sitter Pat, Barnacle Face, Patrick's Staycation, The Googly Artiste, Oral Report, Squidward's School for Grown-Ups, Sentimental Sponge, Big Sister Sam, You Don't Know Sponge, The Masterpiece, Hide and Then What Happens? That Sinking Feeling, Trench Blaze, The Scent of Money, Rodeo Days, One Course Meal, A Day Without Tears, SpongeBob's Last Stand, Yours, Mine, and Mine, A Pal for Gary, Keep Bikini Bottom Beautiful, Someone's in the Kitchen with Sandy, Stuck in the Ringer, Tentacle Vision, Pineapple Fever, Truth or Square, Shell Shocked, toy store of doom, no hat for Pat, pet or pests, Professor Squidward, Squid's visit, to SquarePants or not to SquarePants, Cephalopod Lodge, Diction, the card, choir boys, boating buddies, the Krabby Chronicle, Giant Squidward, sun-bleached slide whistle stooges, the Splinter, Gone, Penny Foolish, House Fancy, Spongehenge, Stanley S. SquarePants, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob? To Save a Squirrel, Pat No Pay, Atlantis SquarePantis, Goo Goo Gas, Breath of Fresh Squidward, To Love a Patty, Good Ol' What's His Name? Fungus Among Us, Waiting, Squidward, The Thing, Hocus Pocus, Whigstruck, All That Glitters, Whale of a Birthday, Good Neighbors, Krabby Land, New Student Starfish, Party Pooper Pants, Can You Spare a Dime? I'm with Stupid, and Dumped. The humor for this show is mostly pretty solid, as even though there are some jokes and gags that can get too crinny and mean-spirited, but most of the time the jokes do hit their mark and result in some very hilarious moments, such as some of the witty banter and dialogue between the characters, most of the snarky comebacks and remarks, most of the gags and slapstick, most of the wacky shenanigans and situations the characters get into, and most of the dark humor and adult jokes. The show also has a great amount of heart and charm to it, which does often lead to some very charming and heartfelt moments, such as some of the friendships and bonds between the characters, the life lessons they learn, and the acts of kindness that come from them. The show can also have some very awesome, fun, and even intense action scenes, which more than often depends on the episode, such as SpongeBob and friends having to take on a villain or group of villains, escape from a certain death situation, or getting out of tight jams. The animation is very solid, as even though there is an occasional error or disgusting visual, the art style is incredibly solid and does help give the show its identity, such as the characters all having some great designs along with some very lively and fluid movements. The backgrounds and settings are very well drawn, colored, and have a great amount of detail, and there are some pretty solid special effects. Not to mention the production values and puppetry during the live-action scenes in some episodes are pretty nice too. The characters are all mostly very well written, as even though they do have their moments where they can be unlikable, a good chunk of the time they do manage to be very memorable and likable thanks to their charisma, chemistry, and dynamics, such as the hyperactive SpongeBob, who's a very likable and charming protagonist, the dim-witted but well-meaning Patrick, the cranky and cynical Squidward, the greedy but caring Mr. Krabs except for the times he's meant to be a villain, the highly intelligent and skilled Sandy, the friendly snail Gary, the strongman Larry, the bad-luck-prone Mrs. Puff, the teenaged Pearl, the snarky Karen, the heroic Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, and many more. Not to mention, this series also has a very fun and solid set of villains and antagonists, such as the ever-plotting Plankton, who does have a soft spot, the ghostly Flying Dutchman, the self-centered and oafish Bubble Bass, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy's rogues gallery of villains like Man Ray and the Dirty Bubble, Mr. Krabs during episodes where he's supposed to be a villain, and more. The voice acting is very well done, as it does result in some pretty solid performances, such as Tom Kenny as SpongeBob and Patchy, Bill Fagerback as Patrick, Roger Bumpass as Squidward, Clancy Brown as Mr. Krabs, Caroline Lawrence as Sandy, Mr. Lawrence as Plankton and Larry, Jill Tully as Karen, Mary Jo Catlett as Mrs. Puff, Laurie Allen as Pearl, Ernest Borgnine as Mermaid Man, Tim Conway as Barnacle Boy, Brian Doyle Murray as the Flying Dutchman, and many, many more. The music and songs are very well done, as the score, which is often comprised of stock music, is very well done and does fit very well within the show's comedic and charming tone. And the show also has a great selection of songs that are very well written and performed, whether they be already existing songs, or ones that are made for the show, like the main theme song, Livin' in the Sunlight, Lovin' in the Moonlight, the FUN song, the Campfire song, Rip Pants, Doing the Sponge, Gary's song, I Can't Keep My Eyes Off You, This Grill Is Not a Home, Never Give Up, Sweet Victory, The Very First Christmas, He's Flying, Underwater Sun, When worlds collide, that's what friends do. All you need is friendship. Hey all you people, the Texas song, oh, my Karen, jellyfish jam, and more. Overall, while the show does have its ups and downs, when it's good, it's really good. I'd say check it out, mainly the best episodes I have listed, but judging by how many episodes there are and everything else in between, there's a good chance you already have.